commemorate the life and ministry of Absolom Jones, the first African-American ordained priest in the Episcopal Church. He is listed on the calendars of saints, and liturgically, he is remembered on the date of his death, February 13th. However, each year, on the second Sunday in February, the UBE, that is the Union of Black Episcopalians, celebrates Absolom Jones Sunday. And here we are. Our immediate past presiding bishop, Catherine Jefford Story, recounts Absolom Jones' history so well that I would like to just share her words. She writes, Absolom Jones was the first priest in the Episcopal Church, and when he died, was still the only one. He was born in slavery in Delaware in 1746, became a house slave as a child, and was sent to Philadelphia at the age of 16 to work in his master's store. He taught himself to read and write with the help of the New Testament. He was able to attend night school. Then he met and married his wife, bought her freedom first so that their children would be born free. And after several more years, they worked together and bought his freedom as well. He worshiped in a Methodist community while it was still part of the Anglican family, where blacks and whites attended together. That is, until the black community began to grow under his and Richard Allen's leadership. The two of them had been licensed as lay ministers to the black congregants. So that growing black membership caused the white vestry to decree that the black congregants would have to worship in a gallery upstairs. And this gallery had been built by the black membership without their knowing that it would be used to segregate them. And on one Sunday morning, ushers tried to move them out of their pews. And when the demands changed from words to physical removal, the black members walked out in protest, vowing never to return. So Jones and Allen left St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church in 1786 and founded a benevolent society that essentially became a non-denominational congregation, the Free African Society. The Free African Society treated all members as friends, caring for widows and orphans, tending the sick, burying the dead, encouraging financial interdependence, and generally sharing each other's burdens and joys. By 1794, the Methodists had separated from the Anglicans in the United States, and the Free African Society congregation voted on which denomination to join. Most chose to remain with the historic body now called the Episcopal Church, but Richard Allen was among those who left, and he eventually founded the African Methodist Episcopal Church, or the AME Church. Jones and his group approached the Episcopalians in Pennsylvania, seeking admissions as St. Thomas African Episcopal Church on three conditions. One, that they were to govern themselves as a separate parish. Two, with the ability to call and support their own clergy. And three, to have Absolom Jones licensed as a lay reader, and if the congregation saw fit, to then have him ordained as their minister. And that same convention made clear, that is, the Diocese of Pennsylvania made clear that they would agree to those terms, but that they would not seat St. Thomas as delegates at convention. And that policy was not reversed until the 1860s. And I think Bishop Shorey's account is succinct, and it gives us a lot in a short amount of time. Absolom Jones was ordained a deacon in 1795. He was ordained after some delay a priest in 1802. The church, St. Thomas African Episcopal Church, still stands and thrives today at 225 years old. They're still thriving in mission and ministry. And I've had the opportunity to hear in person their award-winning choir and their rector, Martini Shaw, preach while I was at a UBE conference. And so today on this Absolom Jones Sunday, I do not consider it a coincidence that our gospel reading is about being reconciled one to another. Scripture tells us to choose life or death. Both are placed before us. If we choose life, then we are choosing to follow the commandments of God. And to do the opposite is to choose death. That is, to sever our relationship with God and our relationship with each other. But the choice is ours to make. If we choose life, we are choosing to give God our all. We are choosing to love God with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, and all our strength. That is, with our whole being. You know, there are times when we bring our gifts, our talents, and skills and strengths to God, but we do so without intentionality. We behave and repeat actions that we know how to do, or that we have been doing so long we can do in our sleep, that we are on autopilot. But Jesus requires all of us, our hearts, and requires that we check our attitudes and feelings, our thoughts and intentions, because left unchecked, they become the weapons and tools that Satan can use to destroy us, to shake our faith, and destroy our relationship with God and with each other. They can become tools used to divide the message of the church. And sometimes the greatest weapons of mass destruction are our fears that we act upon, such as the congregants of St. George's Church. When they were following the leading of the Spirit, they were worshiping together. They would kneel in prayer together, side by side. But when their fear came upon them and they acted upon it, they destroyed relationship. And there are times we have to realize that our way is not the only way, and that we are called to act in ways where we do not control the outcome. So when the Reverend Jones and his group sought reconciliation with the institutional church, they had to go against their fears. They had to risk ridicule and rejection. They had to put pride and righteous indignation aside in order to forgive, but also in order to state how can we make this relationship right. They took the risk of being vulnerable without knowing the outcome. And so did the bishops in the Diocese of Pennsylvania. They took a chance also. They used their positions of power and privilege to make right the relationship, also not knowing what the outcome would be. Had either side listened to the message that the world had given them, neither would have made a move. And likewise, we are called to reject the message the world gives us, the message to live in fear of each other. We are called to rebel against the very gates of hell that seek to destroy the church of God in Christ. We are called to rebel against that message. And we are called to resist evil so that evil will flee us. We resist evil when our worldview becomes a Christ view of the world. During that time also there was a yellow fever outbreak, and the Reverend Father had his congregation to nurse and nurture those who were dying, some of the very people in the community who had put them out of the church, but they were called to show them love and compassion. And to some of them, it was at their own death. So the question is, do we want to be reconciled? Do we want to take that chance to make that bold step of not knowing what the outcome would be? Do we want to talk to each other in these times of tense political happenings? Do we really want to unify the message as the people of God? And truthfully, we don't have a choice but to say yes to that, because we are God's people. We are children of light, and we are called to point the way of Christ. We are called to live into the truth of who we are and whose we are. So choose wisely and choose life. May God's name be praised.
Amen.